I think Batman and Superman is kind of the best way to go here. James Gunn even said in the Junket interviews this week that his Superman has met this world's Batman in the past. You could have a season of the Mutant Academy. You could have a summer season of the Strange Academy. And then you could have workplace stuff. So you could have Agents of Mephisto, Agents of the TVA, and then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. They're all the same show. It's just each season kind of has a different subtitle name to it. I'm glad that we've looked at this so closely.
It kind of looks like a butt plug. Sorry. Superman 2 confirmed?
Rumors. Dr. Doom's new spaceship revealed? Rumors.
Nova and Doctor Strange Academy coming to Marvel?
Rumors. Alden Ehrenreich's Zeke Stane was originally cast as the leader of Giancarlo Esposito's Serpent Society? Rumors. We will answer these rumors and more in this week's episode of The Rumor Rundown on New Rockstars. This is the show that breaks down the various unconfirmed scoops and leaks that take over the fandoms to tell you whether or not they are a true scoop or just a real solid poop. I'm Erik Voss, here with Jessica Clemons.
Hello, ready to scoop and poop.
We're gonna get to the bottom of these crazy things that are coming out there and the hilarious sources that they're coming out of. We're going to apply our own personal research and knowledge from working in this industry. We're here to help you, dear viewer, ascertain the truth that at the bottom, at the core of all of these things, whether it is real or whether it's just some bogus stuff. And I'm really excited about the scoops we got this week.
Yeah,
Jess.
I'm so excited.
Okay, are you ready for our first?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, here we go. Oh, this is an interesting on-site scooper, or in-house scooper we have.
Yeah.
It looks like a lion with a dark, shaggy mane who is playing with the skull of another lion, and he has a meerkat imprisoned in a rib cage.
I like him.
I like him too. I kind of like his deal. His goose-stepping hyenas. That's a little weird.
Maybe they can't come back, but I like this sassy lion.
He's got a silky voice.
Ooh.
This voice. He's just singing, "Be prepared." All right, and he's got his thick lion paw, who's just tossing this first rumor at us right now. All right, are you ready?
I'm ready.
What? What?
Oh.
Whoa, this is an interesting source. So our audio listeners need to know that what I have here is like a black binder clip with a small sheet of paper, and for the first time on the Rumor Rundown, a USB thumb drive.
Oh my God, that's scary.
I'm terrified to plug this into my computer. I mean, this is air-gapped, of course, as all things are when we're here on the Rumor Rundown. So it can only affect just this computer, not our whole network here. Should we plug it in and see?
We gotta see what it says.
All right. It says play me.
Scary.
Oh. All right. Here we go. Bloop, 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 bloop.
And then we play the clip.
Play the clip.
It's a hot set. You don't want to mess it up because, the sequel is... But never mind.
Okay.
Wait, no.
I like how he's like, this clip that's going around on the internet, you have to play it from this thumb drive. So the source here is actor Wendell Pierce, who plays Perry White in James Gunn's Superman, and also played a senator or a congressperson in Thunderbolts.
Oh, Thunderbolts, yeah.
And he also, you may know him from The Wire and a number of other things. He seemingly confirms that a Superman sequel is in the works in an interview with Collider. He said, quote, "It's a hot set. You don't want to mess it up because, the sequel is never mind," and quickly moves on.
My baby. Baby. The thing is, Wendell Pierce won't get in trouble for this at all because it's Wendell Pierce. Also, I forget, he's in 2 movies this year. Good for him.
I know.
He's in 2 big movies this year.
He's really cleaning up. And I have seen James Gunn's Superman as of this taping. If you're watching this video right now, you have seen my review potentially on the New Rockstars channel. It is now live for you to watch just to get my non-spoiler assessment of this movie and everything that it does well. Some things that I wish I saw more of, but I very much enjoyed this movie, and I think Wendell Pierce is so good in it. And yeah, I'm ready to see a sequel. Now, it's our job here to assess what he's saying here, because this is normally we talk about, people who are just anonymous scoop accounts on the internet. This is an actual actor working on these movies and would have some insight into the future of the franchise, especially if you're someone like Perry White. Any future DC movie that is centered around the Daily Planet, he's potentially going to know about it. Now, the sequel, I think, is what the question is, because James Gunn has said that of these secret movies he has in the pipeline, these scripts that he is working on, one of them is not Superman 2, as far as we know, as of this taping. Now, maybe now the movie's coming out, he has opened up a document on his computer to start writing Superman 2, or he's talked to someone else to write it. However, we do think that there could be a follow-up film that is not called Superman 2. And James Gunn's just very clear in his responses and interviews on Threads and Twitter and other places. He really just responds to the letter of the tweet that is sent him, but he doesn't give the whole truth. So while a Superman 2 may not be in development, I think another movie is, and that movie is a Batman/Superman World's Finest movie. So we might see a World's Finest movie before we see Batman Brave and the Bold. And I think that is one of the movies that's in development, is it's going to be a World's Finest story where Batman and Superman are teaming up in a wholesome Silver Age style world where it's just like getting to see the two of these on adventures together in Gotham, in Metropolis, and other places in the DC world. Do we think that's the sequel Wendell Pierce might have been referring to?
I think the sequel still has to be Superman titled and Superman themed. I think that he can still share it with Batman, but I think because he says this is a hot set, we can't really touch things because of the sequel. I think that inclines that, or it suggests that what everything on this set is for the sequel of Superman, not just for like a Superman and Batman movie. It's for the sequel of Superman.
Yeah.
So I do think I could see that being the case. I just feel like it's still more tied to Superman than it is to Batman.
Well, here's what James Gunn has said in other interviews. He's not crazy about the superhero naming nomenclature approach of like title group or title character : something else, because it's so hard to keep that all in your head. So like, I think what he's referring to is Avengers Endgame, Spider-Man Far From Home. 10 years from now, it's going to be really hard to remember Far From Home versus No Way Home versus Brand New Day. It's all going to blur together in a lot of people's minds. So I think he prefers just the numerical approach, because his Guardians of the Galaxy movies were Volume 1, Volume 2, Volume 3. And is there anything wrong with Superman 1, Superman 2, Superman 3? No. I mean, so many horror movies, like you have Alien, Aliens, Alien 3, and then it's easier to remember those than it is Alien Covenant versus Alien Resurrection, And so I think it makes it feel like this is the title of it right now. But I think what he's realizing is we are now post that. I think that is now like franchise fatigue when you start having specific names. So just number them. Yeah,
100%. And he talked about that with Supergirl, right? But then they still ended up going with the title Supergirl that is...
Well, they dropped the Woman of Tomorrow.
Oh, did they drop Woman of Tomorrow?
So I think it's now just Supergirl.
Oh, and it makes more sense, honestly. You could just, we're starting a new Supergirl, just name it Supergirl.
That's why I think it's going to be hard for James Gunn to stick with that with Batman, The Brave and the Bold. Because either he just calls it The Brave and the Bold, but no way David Zaslav makes James Gunn make a Batman movie without Batman in the title.
But technically with Batman, if you're not trying to give him more solo movies, right? It could still work. You could just have that. I'm not saying it would specifically be a one-off, but if it is more in line with the comics, it makes sense to call it that length of a title, right?
Yeah.
And then the next time we see him, he'll be with other people.
The way it's phrased in Mark Waid and Dan Mora's run, and this is a current run. It started in 2022. It's still running. People love it. It is Batman/Superman : World's Finest. And you can either call it World's Finest or... like the way Zack Snyder named Batman v Superman : Dawn of Justice, it was the V, not like, it was like trying to do a versus thing. And for a lot of people, I remember being on the internet at this time, a lot of people were like, why just the V? It makes it feel like it's a court case. You only name things like that when it's a legal dispute, United States v Hobbs or something like that, right? Or Dobbs, that was the Dobbs decision, my God. But would it be too much of a diss at the Batman v Superman if James Gunn were to call it Superman & Batman? Superman and Batman. And so that way you put Superman first, and Batman. Both their names are in the title, and the ampersand makes it feel like, all right, we're working together. It's like Hobbs and Shaw, you know? Like, I feel like, Lilo and Stitch.
Yeah, Deadpool and Wolverine.
And Wolverine. I think Batman and Superman, or Superman and Batman, I don't care which one goes first, is kind of the best way to go here. Because it shows that these are two buddies who are working together. James Gunn even said in the Junket interviews this week that, like, his Superman has met this world's Batman in the past. Like, he's been out there as Superman for 3 years. Batman, we know from Creature Commandos, has been active for even longer than that in Gotham. Yeah, I think it could be really fun to see the two of them just team up together.
Yeah, I think that's what he's probably ultimately trying to do. And it still sticks differently than like what we got with the DC universe of getting so many Batman versus Superman. It's just like, oh, this is like them hanging out a little bit. And also I feel like it depends on which way he's going, but it does sound like this Batman is much more confident in himself than the Superman is. He's still learning. So it'll be a lot of Batman being like, look, I gotta go work with my kid. I gotta go deal with my stuff after this. I'm not gonna go around the globe with you really quick. And then they'll throw in Wonder Woman.
Is this how James Gunn could distinguish his DCU Batman from the Matt Reeves Batman?
100%.
The Matt Reeves Batman, the script is turned in. We talked about that last week on Rumor Rundown. It is now set for October 2027. Could we get like a summer 2027 movie where it's a Batman-Superman team-up? I think that is one way you could do it and not have them compared too much with each other, because one is a team-up story set in a DCU. One is like a solo Batman story in the Crime Saga universe.
100%. I think they already artistically will look different. So it's just, I think it captures a different Batman that everyone can decipher. I think just on paper, when you're hearing it out loud, you get really confused. People that aren't in the nerd realm are probably like, wait, why is it a different Batman? But when you're watching it, you'll be able to tell the two apart. They'll have different backgrounds. I love the idea of Batman just being like a grown man with a child. Like, make this Batman tired.
Yeah, or I think he should be a bit older.
Yeah.
Definitely older than Pattinson.
Yeah.
I think it's the way to go, but not too old. I don't need like Batman beyond old.
I know. I want older than Pattinson, but I still also want like maturity older than Bale as well. Like, I just want a Batman that's like, I know my life. Like, I know what I'm doing, I know what I want to do, and I know where I'm going. There is nothing that I'm completely unsure about. I'm just going to here to save the day, and then I'm going to deal with my family, and then I'm going to come back and save the day, and I'm going to deal with my family. We're going to sometimes do it together. I just want a Batman that's just like fully confident.
Yeah.
That's just confident in what he's doing.
Now, what James Gunn has said in some interviews is that I believe it was Brandon Davis who asked him, like, so when are we going to see Superman again? And James Gunn at first said, well, a couple years. They talked about this in the break room with Hector earlier this week. He said a few years, like potentially 2 years from now, you'll see another Superman in the title of a movie. So if it's not Superman, I think either 2027 or 2028 might be the way to go of a Batman and Superman movie. But we're gonna see Superman show up, I think, in Supergirl.
And everything.
We're gonna see him show up, maybe even on Peacemaker season 2, and we might start to see Batman show up in things like Clayface. Clayface coming in 2026. So that way, this universe's Batman, you don't have to wait for that movie to have him show up, and so that way, there's still the spotlight can go on the Matt Reeves Batman Part 2. That comes out in October 2027. And then summer 2028, you have the Batman and Superman movie after we've had a couple other low-pressure DCU titles come out.
Yeah. Why can't that movie be a Supergirl and a Superman movie?
You could see that too.
Yeah.
I think we want to see the Supergirl movie just be a Supergirl movie
100.
Without having to be carried by Superman. But then after that,
that's
let's have them
what I'm
have a
saying. Then the
team-up.
second movie would be a Supergirl. I've seen Superman and Batman. I have not seen Supergirl and Batman. Or I haven't seen, I don't know if I want to see Supergirl and Batman. You would be so mean.
That could also be great. This version of Supergirl.
I was like, don't be mean to her. She's great. She's perfect. And she's stronger than you. But Supergirl and Superman, I'm like, the most I got from that was in the CW. And it was like, it was all right. But if I could see David Cornsweet and Millie Alcox together, that'd be really fun to see in a movie.
James Gunn's doing the right thing. He's taking his time, but I guarantee you this week he's got some irons in the fire. I do think one of his mystery scripts is a script about the bride.
That's fine.
And I think one of these other ones, now I do think there is a script for Batman Brave and the Bold that he has a mystery writer working on. But I think before that, James Gunn is working on a World's Finest script. I firmly believe that is going to be, that will come out before Batman Brave and the Bold. He just gave us Batman Brave and the Bold just to say, like, hey, so our universe is Batman. It's going to have a Robin who's a Damian Wayne, and he's going to be a bit older. So just to kind of set our expectations. But I don't think he's in a rush to finish that one.
Yeah.
So Wendell Pierce, I feel pretty good. That's what he's referring to. I think there could be any number of projects that are a sequel. Are we ready for our next one?
Mm-hmm.
All right. What do you think, Lion? He's sleeping, so I'm just gonna get a stick and drag it over here. All right. Our next rumor. Ooh, it's a picture.
I love a picture.
Oh my God. And again, if this is your first rumor rundown, these rumors always have an interesting kind of like treasure mappy texture to them. Like clearly some lightning has struck some dry brush here at Pride Rock to scorch the edge of the paper. Here's what we are reading here. There's a paper clip that says new spaceship design for Avengers Doomsday. This comes from the source of Unbox PhD, which is a recurring scoop account on social media. And this is what it is. It's in the shape of an arrowhead. It's a blueprint of a ship that could be Carol Danvers' ship. There's some colored lines streaking across it. I'm not getting much from this, but it looks like a blueprint of like maybe a ship base.
Yeah, now, it looks like a carrot.
Is this Dr. Doom's ship? Is this Captain Marvel's ship? We don't know. What do you think of this, Jess?
You sound like my therapist showing me like a Rorschach. Well, that's a butterfly.
I love that your therapist shows you Rorschach.
They don't. I wish they did. Oh, they don't think I'm that crazy yet. Just give us some time. Give us some time. You're stuck here with me. In the most respectful way. Unbox PhD. I'm sure this is real. I'm sure this is all great. Why do I care? Is that a question? Is that mean? It's more so I'm like, if it was a design that I could make out of and it's not that my nephew did, then I would probably care more. I
think your nephew would draw something better than this.
I think he would too. I don't care.
What do you think these colored lines are referring to?
Yeah,
we have a green dotted line, a green dashed line, a thick purple line. It's so specific and basic that looks like something that was just made in MS Paint and quickly screen grabbed and sent out.
No, it was...
That it makes me feel like it's more authentic because it doesn't look like fan art, of course.
No,
it just looks kind of very basic for like construction permitting.
I don't care. I don't care. I'm trying to figure out why it is that I don't care. And I'm like, I love getting notes and hints and leaks of every piece of Marvel content 100%. This is probably the first one where I've been like, why does this matter to me? I care about the ships. I think what we've seen of the ships are great. Like the Fantastic Four that you noticed from Thunderbolts and Doom ship and the idea of Galactus' ship, I think are amazing. This isn't doing anything for me. It's just a triangle that I just have to assume might belong to Carol Danvers. But yeah, the lines. What is it, like a Taco Bell cup?
It looks kind of like an arrowhead that I would find in, rivers when I was in Boy Scouts, or say was an arrowhead, but it was just a rock that was flat. I think this is real. Honestly, It feels real to me just because it is so ugly and simple. And I do think that we will see some kind of helicarrier-esque command center in Avengers Doomsday. Now, who it belongs to, Carol Danvers seems like a good choice. I think this might be her ship. Yeah. The reason we're collecting all these, just transparency to our listeners and viewers, is we're trying to just collect everything that's been speculated to be in Avengers Doomsday because we are in the process of building like our Battle World vision board of like, maybe Luke Cage's house is here.
Vision board. Say like the D&D map.
It's kind of a D&D map, right? Like we're trying to build our Candyland, our Monopoly board, whatever it is, the pieces of Dr. Doom's Battle World. We're going to try to assemble it just so we have a geography of like everything that's been established. The Avengers campus that might be there, the Westchester X Mansion that might be there, other things, weird statues that we've heard of. Yeah, we're going to try to put it all on.
And this is going to be there. When I say I don't care, it's more, I guess, for just in genuine for Unbox PhD. But I understand leaking every piece of information. If we get every concept art, I demand every this as well. It's just for me, I'm like, I just don't even know what to make of it right now. It could be it could be like vulture shit. It could be it could be anything. It could be anything. What if it's not a ship? What if it's someone's house that just like crashed, or they turned a ship into a house because it's broken down, or it's just floating in space and does not move at all. I don't know. Oh, wait a minute.
Did you find something?
No, shut up. What are these circles at the top? They look like either clocks.
Clocks? Miss Minutes
like
cameos?
Well, they look like clocks. It looks like it's supposed to be a shield, but it looks like the clock that you saw in what was the Martin Scorsese movie? That is it Tintin? The poster for Tintin? Was that the
Spielberg
one?
did Tintin.
Spielberg, sorry, yeah. There's like the cover for Tintin, I think, had this clock that was like very oval shaped that popped out, and that's what it kind of reminds me of more than it does a shield.
See, I think they might be life rafts. This could be
life rafts on the
a
side.
Future Foundation life raft, because didn't Reed Richards and Hickman in Time Runs Out, there was like a life raft that like Reed Richards puts all the kids triangle on, and then it gets split in half as it gets sucked into the dimensional rift between 1610 and 616. Could that be it? Could this be Reed Richards' ship?
I think you're onto something still with the comic, but then you see the dashes that are for a clock on the outside.
I'm not seeing clock.
I'm seeing clock.
I don't see clock.
You don't know how to read time.
I don't.
And this is why you have electric.
I'm like Billy Kaplan. I'm like, what's an analog clock?
What's an analog?
I don't understand. I seriously have always had problems with it.
Yeah,
is it 4:30 or a quarter till 5?
It also could just be like if you do have like Microsoft Paint or whatever you're using, Illustrator, you just have like those little icons that you just use as place markers, and that could easily just be it as well. But to me, it's giving clock.
I'm glad that we've looked at this so closely.
I think we've spent way more time. It kind of looks like a butt plug. Sorry.
I mean,
it has the stopper where it doesn't go further in your butt.
Lion, what did you give us?
He went.
And he's like, "Oops, how did that get in there?" He did say, "Be prepared." What did you mean by that?
Wait, I wasn't thinking when you said that. I thought it was the song.
He said "be prepared," but really he meant a different BP phrase.
Oh. Good on you.
Booty plug.
Booty plug.
Well, I know where I'll keep this.
No, stop it! Don't put it up your butt. We didn't. Wait, put it up here because we don't know if it's a poop or a scoop yet. If it's a poop, right. You can put it up your butt.
Technically, a butt plug is a poop and a scoop.
It is. That is true. That is true.
I don't know how they really work. I have a general understanding of what they're used for, but I can't claim to be an expert in these.
I feel like I am an expert.
I don't think I've ever seen one like in front of me. I've seen pictures of them. I've seen them as like props and movies.
I feel like the
stuff.
people that have seen them in front of them for a reason, Erik. They're there. Get the other one. Get the other one.
Lion, next one. Thank you. He sent one of his hyenas to bring it over, and he was giggling.
Was it Whoopi? He's my favorite.
It was Ed.
Hyena. No, I love Ed. It is
my stupid jacket is making it hard for me to reach.
Why don't you just shake it out?
Oh no, I want to reach. All right. Do you want to read this one?
Yeah. Is it because it's like they got this out of the Goblet of Fire.
Harry
Potter, did you put your name in the Goblet of Fire? That's crazy. That's what this says as well. No, I'm joking. It says Marvel Studios is reportedly deciding whether to make Strange Academy and Nova as movies or Disney Plus shows. Source: Daniel RPK.
Daniel Rippick. We love Daniel here. Daniel.
He's been saying quotes from TikTok, or not TikTok, from Vine.
I saw a Vine super cut on YouTube, and now it's all in my head. I'm old.
Daniel RPK we're very used to.
So we just saw the Ironheart finale this week. We've been praying for a Nova movie for quite some time.
For a minute.
And I feel like both of these work better as shows. I just think...
Really?
Yeah, I think Strange Academy, I'd like to explore the world. The issue, as we talked about on Sneak Peek on Sunday, is like if you do a Strange Academy show, it's kind of hard to also do a Mutant Academy show. They're kind of similar structurally.
But they've taken the name and changed it, or they've done comic names and changed how we see them in the MCU plenty of times. So I don't think they would do what we saw in the comics of Strange Academy, especially because Strange was rarely there in Strange Academy. It was everybody else. I think Brother Voodoo was a teacher, and so was Agatha. I think it would just be like it'd be like people at Carmitage, probably with Wong, who are like the interns. Like they're the ones that are like the assistants. I don't know what like the apprentice. They'd be the apprentices.
Oh, I see.
And it'd be like we'd focus on 4 major ones, just wandering and helping them, because it's also them going through portals and going through the world and finding things. Like how like in Kunlun, it's like it's through this random like wall of bamboo and stuff. Like they do a lot of those things. So I'm like, they could just venture around.
Oh, like Talo.
Yeah.
Talo.
Talo.
Because
Yes,
Kunlun is Iron Fist, yeah.
Kunlun.
But I was like,
so
Kunlun
sorry.
is similar in that it's like a mythical realm.
I meant you. Yes, thank you, from Shang-Chi, or the Harry Potter, or the Hogwarts, and when you have to run into the wall.
Oh, the 9 3/4 platform.
The 9 3/4 platform. It's a lot of those things. So I think that's really fun to do in Strange Academy in a series. It kind of feels like Sandman.
Oh.
Like that'd be really fun to go find student. Oh, I guess that's X-Men.
What
if
do you
they're
mean?
Finding students.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. They're kind of similar. But here's the thing. Lean into that.
Yeah.
Let's build out a world. Like, I know Marvel is under the pressure to do less. But if you plan this out and have good scripts going into it, you can do as much of it as you can handle. You could have a season of the Mutant Academy. You could have a summer season of the Strange Academy. And then you could have workplace stuff, have a series of agents shows. You could have
Stop it.
Agents of Mephisto, Agents of the TVA, and then Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. And then just have, they're all the same show. It's just each season kind of has a different subtitle name to it.
And I think more than X-Men supporting Strange Academy can support X-Men, because Strange Academy had like Asgardians. It had Dormammu's son. It could take some mutants into their school, and the mutants could be like, I do half-time at Xavier Institute, but I also do half-time here. Because that's someone like Magic. And I think it would be really fun for Strange Academy to venture into like Magic's background of like, there's limbo, as in like the limbo that humans go to, and then there's her crazy magical realm that's a monster zone. Let's decipher the two. I want Nova so bad as like a Guardians of the Galaxy movie.
I agree. I think Nova
so
has
bad
a better
as a
chance
movie.
being a movie than a show.
Yeah.
Just because of the scale of it. And I think what Marvel might be waiting to see is how successful Fantastic Four First Steps is. Because Fantastic Four First Steps is going to be a very cosmic story. And I think they're waiting to see the feedback. Do people want to see more cosmic stories? And if so, Nova, I think, will be a big part of their future. I think they're waiting to see feedback with the Silver Surfer, because you could have an Annihilator story with Nova, with Phyla-Vell, with the Silver Surfer, with like Beta Ray Bill, with Adam Warlock, all these characters, but it's going to depend on how successful and what kind of success Fantastic Four has.
I was also going to ask whether I think people are excited for a Nova series, but the farther we keep going without making one, is it going to eventually kind of phase out?
I don't think so, because Nova isn't on their radar. It's not like Blade.
No,
You know,
not like for
no
the
one's-
fans. I mean for Marvel. Because they're going to keep adding more things onto their docket, and that's just going to push. If Nova doesn't... I think they are trying to get more into the shared universe aspect. They're 100% being like, we need to start bonding the movies together and the TVs together. And if Nova's not helping bond that, they're going to keep pushing it out.
Yeah.
And if we're getting into the mutant saga, I'm like, I think on the side, they're going to keep pushing the other storylines, but it feels like that's going to be more New York and more the cinematic television or the television shows.
I think it's going to be hard for them to do cosmic stories just on Disney Plus, because you got to give them huge budgets, or at least you got to do it in a way, the way Star Trek was produced, to where they could still do it in limited budgets. But like, I don't trust Marvel's writers, or at least the way they produce TV content. They have not convinced me enough yet. Maybe Vision Quest will prove me wrong here, but they have not convinced me yet, but that they have the same kind of like episodic structure that Star Trek Next Generation did. Now, Terry Matalas of Vision Quest was a Picard writer. I think he can do it. Now, if Vision Quest is a success, let Terry take over your cosmic side of Marvel television. Otherwise, these cosmic stories need to be movies.
They do,
because
100%.
they need the budget.
I think there's some argument that like Loki did a really good job, but I think Loki was still grounded in what Loki was. And I feel like Nova's too big. And Nova still has to kind of talk and answer to some questions from, 7 years ago? That I'm like, I kind of want to see what's going on with Nova after we blew up that entire everything. Because Nova's the mind, how much do we actually... How much do they? Yeah, no, they have to talk about what happened in the first Guardians, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
I think
I was like, can they avoid it without?
I think you got to talk about the attack on Xandar. I think you got to show Thanos' attack on Xandar that happened off screen before Avengers Infinity
You think
War.
they can't just like?
I think
I'm not encouraging it. I'm not encouraging it. I would rather them show it to me 100%.
That needs to be the opening scene of a Nova story.
Yeah. Well, Thanos 100%, but you think they have to talk about what happened in the first Guardians movie within the opening or
I think that's going to be part of the backstory of it. But it's kind of like if you want to do Nova as a movie, then you can justify getting Josh Brolin to come back as Thanos. That is
money.
But that's what I'm saying. You can't do that as a TV show.
Yeah, 100%.
You can do like a CGI Thanos who's shown from a distance.
I feel like if they made Nova into a TV show, they are shooting themselves in the foot. And I don't want.
There's a way you can do it. It's just a different type of story.
But it's like, and maybe that's because I'm just like I've been wanting this like Guardians of the Galaxy kind of Nova story because it's just fun, it's big, it's space, and I still want Nova to be like some sort of camp. But I feel like once you make it into a series, they're gonna make it really sad.
But
really
I'd watch that show.
Yeah, I would watch it, and I'd be like, yeah, I want a spectacle, and I want that spectacle in the movie.
See, with a TV show though, I just want good relationships, good storytelling of just on a smaller soap opera-esque scale of just like interesting characters having interesting dynamics with each other. And I don't care about where the setting is as much. I just want characters who I want to live with for 2 months. I
feel that. And I hope Marvel listens instead of trying to make action figures for Nova.
Right.
Because that's also merch in that damn park is really what's the the
and a character like Nova is like a cosmic superhero.
He is literally an action figure.
Right. So maybe movie for that one. I think talking about rumor rundown's approach of trying to figure out whether or not what Daniel said is true. Yeah. I think what is interesting here is it's all going to depend on how well Fantastic Four does. Because honestly, if Fantastic Four underperforms, I think a lot of these are off the table.
Do you think it's in budget, not in creativity?
Well, I think honestly, Disney's going to pull the strings on Marvel Studios. They're going to pull the purse strings, and they're going to say, okay, you can do the shows that are already in the pipeline. You can do Avengers, Doomsday, and Secret Wars. You can do your X-Men movie, but all these other titles off the table until we can get the franchise back on track.
Yeah, I can see that. I don't think that's like a... Yeah, I assume that.
Like if Fantastic Four ends its run under $500,000, you might see some heads rolling at Marvel Studios. You might see headlines like, we're not going to do, like, we won't do Secret Wars. It'll just be Doomsday. We might see like, we won't do any of these other things other than X-Men, which would suck.
That'd be insane if they pulled from the movies, but I could see them pulling the plug on Marvel Television. Them being like, we're going to
done.
We're going to be done for a minute. We'll do Born Again, and then we're going to stop.
Yeah. Or they'll rethink the way they're approaching it. Like they'll put another studio in charge of television, or they'll just say like, we're not going to do TV shows anymore.
I mean, or they could, I don't know.
I mean, it'd be crazy to blame the failure of Fantastic Four on television.
No, it's just redistributing the money. It's figuring out where they can pull from. And that's the thing. The umbrella for Marvel Cinematic Universe is that's the anchor. Marvel Television and all the other Marvel Animation, they're like, we can pull money away from this for now and keep this completely active. And that's where I'm like,
Fantastic Four makes less than $500 million, does Kevin Feige lose his job? Because I don't think anybody else can do that.
That's
job
the thing.
Right
I don't think so because there's no one else I don't think there's anyone that kind of wants to.
No one else. I mean, there are plenty of people who want to, but people
I would
who
love
would
to
be
have
good
the money, but I know that there's people out there that are like, I want the money. I know I wouldn't be doing good because what do you mean? I have to supply and demand, but also deliver on whatever everybody wants, but also having to take, for some reason, creative control as the studio. Dude, you're just gonna get smoke. You're just gonna get smoked the entire time. At least Kevin Feige's been with the company long enough that we all like Kevin Feige. Mm-hmm. But if you bring in a new person and they continue messing up, we're gonna just put it all on that guy.
No one else can do it. I mean, James Gunn could have done it, but James Gunn's now at DC, and we're waiting to see how successful his movies are gonna be at DC. I'm saying like, I don't know if anybody in this industry can actually pull it off. Yeah. If Kevin Feige can't, I don't know if anybody else can.
There's probably someone. We just don't really pay attention to.
We're going to talk to Joss Whedon. You're going to get Brad Bird to do it, maybe.
I think there's a woman out there that could actually do a really good job. It's just we haven't been looking at them.
Get Victoria Alonso on the phone.
The girl, oh, no. The girl does not want to do it.
Yeah.
She got so much heat. It's hard. And that's the shitty thing is like, because he's just been here so long, he doesn't get as much shit. Because and this is just on psychology. As soon as a new person comes up, that person's going to get the shit. We're going to yell at him. We're going to be like, it was you.
Because what we're talking about is like, it's not just a good filmmaker. Like, get Ryan Coogler to do it. Does Ryan Coogler want to run a studio?
No.
Like, Peter Safran is really helping James Gunn run that studio. And it's because they have a decades-long relationship. Peter Safran started representing James Gunn as his manager after The Specials in 2001. And it was just a lucky coincidence, not lucky, both of them worked really hard in their careers, that Peter Safran was producing stuff with James Wan, the Annabelle, Conjuring movies, the 2018 Aquaman, the 2019 Shazam. He was at New Line and then proved himself as an accomplished producer and studio guy with Warner Brothers. And that the fact that he was also James Gunn's partner in crime throughout all of this stuff, throughout Guardians of the Galaxy and Super and Brightburn and all these other things that James Gunn was doing, it was like a match made in heaven. So of course Warner Brothers is like, oh, we got best of both worlds here. I don't think we have a partnership that's quite like that anywhere else in the industry.
No. That we know of.
That's the
shitty thing.
You
is
have
like
Jordan Peele, and he has
nowhere.
a producing partner, Will Rosenfeld. Like there are other people who exist like
but
that.
That's also the thing is like I don't think they want to run a company, and that's the thing. They'll pop out of somewhere. We just haven't seen them yet. I'm sure there's someone in the bowels of fucking Paramount.
Yeah, and I mean you had like Steven Spielberg is someone who could do both, but when DreamWorks launched, it was Spielberg, Geffen, and Katzenberg that all did it together. At Imagine, it was Ron Howard and Brian Grazer. Like, so it's just a lot of people are like, why not just get a Ryan Coogler to do it? It's Ryan Coogler. Let's not stifle him behind a desk, please. Let's let that man make great movies.
I'm not going to let you guys set this man up for failure. Yeah. I'm not going to have you guys set this man up for disaster just to get in that position and then you guys cuss him out because he wants to bring in another movie that has a black lead. I'm not dealing with it.
Yeah, just let him make great movies
and that's how I got
whoever will pay him the most.
How I feel about with Jordan Peele also. I'm like, I don't think he wants to do this. He'd rather continue being like a producer or executive producer.
They have their own production companies where they can just fund whatever projects they want to do. I mean, Monkey Paw is still going to make awesome movies. Let's not make Jordan Peele run one of these major complicated studios that has like franchise plans 10 years in the making. That's weird. It's not like it's too big of a job. It's just too weird of a job. Yeah. Okay. We have one more from the Lion.
From the Lion.
All right. One more rumor. Okay, this comes from My Time to Shine. Hello. Hiya. We haven't done My Time in a bit. My Time to Shine Hello claims, now that Ironheart is over, it's time to reveal that originally Zeke Stane was supposed to be the one who created Serpent Society in Captain America Brave New World, back when the show was meant to come out before the movie, and group was the team. They were going to be a team of cyborgs with bionic enhancements. Our researcher Noah, and you saw this as well when you were breaking down Ironheart, that Zeke Stane has some serpentine tattoos. Yeah. So what do you think about this? Do you think this is real?
Yeah, I'm not surprised at all. I'm more just confused at why they changed it.
Why do you think they changed it?
Why do you change it? Is it... I don't know. I'm also a person that is very confused by Brave New World behind the scenes. There was so much movement that I lost track. And I'm like, at what point did you, because they also edited so many people out.
Yeah.
I'm like, at what point did they just straight up, was it because they just got Giancarlo Esposito? Or?
I think they changed it before they got Giancarlo. Yeah. They had Seth Rollins, they had Rosa Salazar, and I think maybe they were going to be part of, because like you can see other rumors that like they were going to all have like parts. They were going to have like Rattler was going to have a specific bionic enhancement.
Maybe they did it to like straighten out the story a little bit. That would have been a crazy story if they're now bionic, and then we're also dealing with the Hulks. That'd be too much. That'd be too much.
I think it was a big swing, a comic booky swing, because they wanted to have some kind of fun Serpent Society, but it just wasn't working. No. And then what they did is they brought in Giancarlo Esposito to just be a group of mercenaries, and they made like a watered down, forgettable version of something that also didn't work that well.
Would the Serpent Society still have been at the hands of moving the leader's stuff?
Yeah, I think they were still structurally part of that story of the adamantium
Yeah,
being
okay, that makes
stolen.
sense, because then he would have been the black market.
Yeah.
He would have been still in the black market, Ezekiel Stane.
I think it just felt like probably too big of a swing that just like felt like too out of left field with the Red Hulk elements of the story. I also think this was like a version of, I think Red Hulk was always going to be part of it, but it was before Harrison Ford, because originally they were planning to have William Hurt as the president in this, and then William Hurt passed away in 2022, and that was the first thing they had to do to reconfigure everything. There were like 6 different versions of this movie, and Ironheart was going to come out before Brave New World. Ironheart was going to come out in like spring 2023 or something like that, or summer 2023.
Well, okay, it was supposed to come out in 2023.
The first
but it
trailer
takes place in 2025.
I think they changed that.
Yeah,
I think they updated
and they didn't have, and again, there was no reason why they didn't have to, because it takes place in Chicago. Nothing's happening in Chicago. They could change it to 2027 if they wanted to, and we'd all be like, yeah, because it's after Wakanda Forever. It doesn't really matter.
It was just like a few months after Wakanda Forever, right?
Yeah, so
and
it does
that
not
was
matter.
fall 2022.
They had the best deal in Marvel, where it was like, nothing's happening over here that intersects with your story, so you can make it any date. Yeah, that makes sense. Okay, that makes sense. Yeah, that's crazy. Yeah, I mean, I believe the scoop 100%. I see the scoop. I understand it completely. I just don't understand the logic behind Brave New World putting him in there, taking him out, but also having the Serpent Society and then having the Red Hulk.
I think that movie, if we saw the plans for each of these versions of the movie, I think we could see, oh, I see what they're going for here. But it's just when we flatten them all together into one complicated mess of a movie, that's when it gets confusing. So we have to think of this like chronologically, like this got taken out, so this got put in, but that's also not the best way to make a movie.
And if I was making a shot list off of that script, I'm sure they started realizing like, well, this doesn't work if this is true.
Yeah.
And then they're like, well, then this doesn't work if this is true. Because there was a lot of parts that the original writer for Thunderbolts was like, yeah, I had like a bunch of storyline for actual Taskmaster, but then it was like the same jokes that Sentry got, and then it didn't really push the story along. It just stopped it for comedy, and Sentry was already doing that. And then you just realize it's probably best if we just take the character out.
Yeah, and I think they went through fewer rounds of that for Thunderbolts than they did for Brave New 100%. World. And it seems like the story that they wanted to tell for Thunderbolts stayed mostly intact throughout the production period.
I feel bad for Brave New World because it just felt like really hard story-wise, because I was like, the Thunderbolts, it was just a character side little bit story. The linear story was still there. Brave New World, I'm like, that kind of shakes it up if you take that main villain out, or like one of the main villains out.
It feels like they really went into that movie not knowing what they wanted from it. And I think they just felt like the world was owed, and Sam Wilson was owed
100%.
his own Captain America movie, and I agree with that. I think, but you also owe him a good script that serves his character.
100%.
And yeah, I think they got ahead of themselves.
I want to read that first, the very first one. Yeah. Not out of like me being an annoying person. I just want to know where the headspace was of like the original idea. I know that it was like the Red Hulk for sure, but I just want to know like, yeah, if this is true, then what else is true? How did this logic sound? What was in your head when you wanted to write this part? So I believe it.
So let's recap our 4 scoops. So our first one was this thumb drive from Wendell Pierce, or from Scar, about Wendell Pierce confirming Superman 2 or a sequel. The second was the Avengers Doomsday ship. That came from Unbox PHT. The third came from Daniel RBK about Strange Academy and Nova. Are they going to be TV shows or movies? The fourth comes from My Time to Shine, hello, about Ironheart, Zeke Stane, and his connections to the Serpent Society. I got to give these 4 out of 4 scoops.
I'm giving them 4 out of 4 scoops.
I think we got 4 good scoops here, folks. This is a New Rockstars first on the Rumor Rundown. Mm-hmm. I think all of these are based in truth. I think that there will be some kind of ship that shows up in Doomsday. I think there will be a World's Finest or some kind of follow-up in the next few years to Superman. I think Marvel Studios is considering Strange Academy and Nova. They're just waiting for Fantastic Four box office numbers to come in, and I think there was some plan for Zeke Stane to be involved in the Serpent Society.
100%. Good scoops.
Good scoops.
Good scoop.
Well, let us know what scoops you are curious about, because this week ahead, we have Superman coming out, and I'm sure you're going to see a lot of misinformation about James Gunn's process for what this movie was going to be. But we really want to clear it up. We want to do the best job that we can here at New Rockstars to apply our own experience and insights to these rumors. Follow Jess at Lulu_Clemons. You can follow me at EA Voss. Big thanks to Michaela, who's producing the show behind the scenes. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next week, Scoopers.